The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast.
It's already been 6 weeks. It's hard for me to believe that we started off 6 weeks ago here with the Winter Series GT3 here with Red Sox Racing League, but we did. And well, all good things come to an end, and I am very happy to say that we're going to bring things to an end here in Homestead-Miami. I want to welcome everybody in for the Series 1 finale here of the Red Sox Racing League. It's race number 6 here. It's been a lot of fun to go through. It's been a lot of fun to bring this to you here on PTR TV. Of course, my name is Bradley Dalton. I am joined in the booth here by Sagar Bakshi as per usual. And this week, I'm going to remember to click the button so you can hear his beautiful voice. Sagar, good evening, my friend. How are you?
Good evening, Bradley Dalton. Good evening, racers, race fans, and everybody in between. We're headed to Homestead, Florida for 10 corners, 6 to the left and 4 to the right, with only 2 to 3 feet of elevation change around Homestead-Miami.
Yeah, this is a track that, of course, if you're a NASCAR fan, like most of us here at PTR TV are, you're going to know this track pretty well. But what you don't know is that there's a road course involved. And I tell you what, let's just go ahead and get this fun little track info guide up. 10 turns, this is road course B. And yeah, you can kind of see how things go. Sagar, we were talking about it before, and this very much kind of gives us the feel of Daytona. And I don't think it's just because it's a NASCAR track.
I think it's because it's got this little infield section. This is like Daytona shrunken down to a 2.24 mile course. And this is going to be very interesting to see how the drivers fare because there's so many late braking zones. And of course, you have the long oval section where you're going to get a ton of slipstream from the car out in front.
That you are. It's going to be a fun battle to watch here as they go through qualifying. Of course, we're about halfway through this 15-minute qualifying session, and well, as it stands at the 1:15.11 for Tommy Ryan up in the lead. You see him coming into the pits here. Let's check out Brian Irby. Brian Irby's been running through some pretty good times here as we follow him in that Whistler Mustang down the backstretch here.
And Tommy Ryan with his 115.1, 115.13 for Irby. Mitch Heller in third place with a 115.2. Look at all these 115s. We have the top 11 all in that 115 range. And then Jeff Ryan holding back the 116 plus category.
Yeah, it's a competitive field, and well, Sagar, we talk about it time and time again, and we'll continue to talk about it time and time again. It's a very, very competitive field here in Red Sox Racing League. Always has, always will be, but currently I think we need to talk about the competition for our points situation as it stands.
Absolutely. Mitch Heller leads with 181 points over Dave Hill with 172, and then Robert Beirus with 170 points in third place. It's awfully close at the top, and the race championship could be decided tonight.
Indeed, it's got to be decided tonight because it's here, done, dusted. This is going to be all she wrote once we are in and out and done. So we'll see how things go. Currently, Mitch Heller is sitting third in the qualifying standings here. He's not doing bad on pace, though. Less than a tenth off of Tommy Ryan, but again, competitive field, we know how things go. One person I do want to give a big shout out to is the boss man himself, Les Turner of the Batmobile McLaren. Well, he's currently sitting P5 overall, and I noticed the iRacing audio is a little bit louder. That's what you get for a NASCAR track. We'll get those engine sounds down just enough so you can hear our beautiful voices, but still also hear the cars as they go around.
I love hearing the cars roar by me at any given track, and the way that iRacing makes the sound amplify off of the walls here at Homestead makes it even that much more greater. And speaking of the barriers, this is actually one of the first tracks where the safe barrier was first implemented for open wheel racing cars. So if you've ever wondered why those barriers look so good, It's because they are part of the safe barrier system, which is now implemented at many Roval courses.
Yeah, it's a big standard in safety for pretty much every track, I'd argue, that is running any of our major series across the world. That is a pretty well standard feature they have to run through. We check in with one Mr. Brent Cook here, running that AMS oil liveried McLaren, running through looking nice and comfortable, and he is going to be looking P5 so far, looking to move up. It's going to be important for him. This infield section, I really want to talk about it because it's so, well, it's just different here as we kind of look through some of the different sections of it. You've got this hairpin here, there's the final chicane, and then of course it comes out and about. If we go to our big blimp shot here, I mean, you can see the infield section that they're using, and it shoots out directly onto the backstretch. What's the key for surviving this infield, you think, Sagar?
Being there on the brakes for sure. I think that's got to be the key to success in this infield section, is being there on the brakes when you need to be and not going too off and wide. You can see a lot of the runoff there is all just grass with a little bit of barriers to separate yourself. But if you're too late on the brakes and you find yourself into the barriers, well, that's race over for you.
That it is, and as you and me both know, barriers are not your friend in any car, so you've got to keep the car together. Again, I keep coming back to Daytona, and I blame it on the fact that this is a NASCAR track, kind of at its core. But a lot of those things that you kind of learn with the Daytona road course, braking on time, getting through, those are all going to be things that drivers really need to channel here and be comfortable with. You don't have the run through 1 and 2 to really get the slipstream, though. That is the one big difference with this that I notice, is you don't have 1 and 2 to slipstream and run through, follow through 3 and 4, and then have a big dive into turn 1, try for a pass. You've got to keep it together in the infield.
100%. And then I would say key number 2 would be making sure that you're very delicate. Egg underneath your throttle pedal for the infield section. Making sure that you're there on the brakes is key number 1. Key number 2 being making sure that you're very delicate with that throttle application, especially with these lightened fuel loads that the drivers are using. It'll just absolutely destroy their tires, destroy their times, and consume way too much fuel if they just pedal to the metal out of some of these very slow corners that they're coming through.
Yeah, that's going to be the big problem for them. The slow corners really are going to make a difference as we go through here. We continue along. I'm really excited for this season finale. It's been a long run through this entire year, this entire 6-week season. I say year, well, because the first 6 weeks of the year have felt like a year in and of themselves as we go through and around here. Of course, if this is your first time here at PTR TV, I want to welcome everybody on Facebook and YouTube. If it's your first time seeing a PTR TV stream, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bells, give us a follow. Do all the fun things you can do to support us here for absolutely free. It costs you nothing. It's just, man, I wish I had more to say here, Sagar, but the thing is, these drivers are so competitive, and this is the end of this 6-week run. So, like, if you don't get it right tonight, you get no do-overs. There's no additional opportunities. You have to make it work. And there's no mystery machine to be found beyond this week. But David Berry, of course, running the wonderful mystery machine livery here that I know you and me both know and love.
I appreciate the livery coming back out for the final race of the season. And I never noticed Velma on the side of his car, one of my favorite characters there, and Fred on the left-hand side, as we can see on the number 14, the Mystery Machine, running in 6th place right now. This is David Berry with a 115.3, but Bradley, I think we do enough talking all on our own. Now it's time to let the drivers do the talking, because we've got 50 seconds left in this qualifying session, and then it's all up to them to bring it home to the checkered flag.
Absolutely. 45 seconds now to go, and we see cars starting their final laps here. Laps, of course, a minute 15. They go pretty quick. You got plenty of time around here. Mitch Heller's in the pits here. Tommy Ryan is still trying to find a time. Mitch Heller has overtaken Tommy Ryan while we were talking there and was able to find almost 2/10 up as he goes, and just 2/10 of a second going back to Brian Irby here. So we'll continue to watch and see what times they can find. They continue their way around as they bring things through. And It says Mitch Heller's last lap time was 30 seconds. I don't know if that's correct or not, but that is what it says. His last time was. Tommy Ryan needs to beat a 1:15.1. Does he bring it? No, he has a 1:16.8. So he's a little slow there as they go through and they continue around. Well, we look, we continue, we go, and plenty of gap to be found here. But again, that top 11, all in the 1:15s here, looking very, very good. Very, very fast, I will say. Les Turner bringing it across the line here, trying to find a final time. If he can find anything extra in that car, and does Les Turner? Well, it's a 1:15.291 that moves him up into 6th place.
Very nice out of the big boss, Les Turner, driving the 0-1 car, the Batmobile himself. No Robin to be found here tonight, but the 00 of Nathan Lafayette comes into the pits, practicing his pit stops. That will be the 3rd key to this race. Making sure you know where that speed limit line is. Coming down pit road is absolutely crucial. So many times have we seen the drivers lose or gain a massive amount of time coming down pit road. And the drivers that are practicing their pit stops now, well, hopefully it's enough practice for them during the race as well.
And we know every driver has to make one pit stop. The question is, when do they do that? Mitch Heller's still there. Dave Hill is there. Mark Wilson's around. David Barry, well, Scooby-Doo has stopped right there at the outside of turn 1. Robert Beirus is in. Dwayne McCarthy is in. So there's no drivers on track at the moment, but it looks like we are just waiting on the session to end here. We're waiting on those final times to come through and for that unofficial grid to become official as we look around here. And of course, our race details, as we always talk about, it's that 30-minute sprint. It's not a lap count, it's an endurance count. How many laps can you get done in 30 minutes? How quick can you do it? One fast repair in case things go wrong, which sometimes comes in more handy than others. And then, of course, that limited fuel load that forces everyone to take at least one pit stop. We don't ever really see 2, but we know at least 1 will be coming.
And I just want to point out, if you haven't noticed it already, Homestead-Miami kind of looks like a paperclip looking down from the sky. Can you see it, Bradley Dalton? Or is it just me?
Oh, no, I can absolutely see it. It truly does look like it. It's pretty interesting to watch, I'm not going to lie. So it'll be interesting to see how the drivers navigate that. But of course, as is always, it's time for that PTR TV starting lineup for the final time here in Red Sox Racing League Series 1. Of course, Series 2 coming up in just a few weeks. We'll give some more info about that in just a little bit. It's going to start Mitch Heller, Tommy Ryan on the front row for this final round. Brian Irby and Dave Hill, 3rd and 4th place. Brent Cook and the boss man, Les Turner, P5, P6. David Barry in 7th. Mark Wilson will be bringing it in 8th place. Jim Graziano in the Porsche in P9, and Robert Beirus in 10th. Dennis Griffin in P11, and Paul Lucky feeling lucky today in number 12. Jeff Ryan in 13th. Dwayne McCarthy in 14th. And then from there, we're looking at... Well, we skipped over it, but 15th was Nathan Lafayette, 16th was Mark Kodrowski, and then 17th place was Mark Agee. So 17 drivers will be taking this on, and we get the full pace lap. We don't normally get that. Usually we do a short pace lap here in Red Sox, but I think Les was feeling generous and gave us a full one here.
I think he was trying to make it a little bit more interesting for the drivers this night out. An added 2.3 miles or an additional lap around this track will mean a little bit heavier fuel loads for some of the drivers, or a little bit less time to run during that first stint for sure.
Absolutely. It's going to be so much fun for me to watch kind of what the drivers decide to do, what they look at, where they're at. We kind of jump around with some of the different cars through the grid, and we kind of just enjoy this pace lap from a couple of different views as we continue around here. Right front suspension of David Barry at the moment. We look at Robert Beirus. Let's get on that left front suspension for him. It's looking through. This is that long sort of infield stretch here that you have to be careful of, because it's going to kick you out right into this hairpin. It'll kick you right out through into the mid sector. I had a camera for that, but it's now no longer showing for me. So we come along through, and then of course you'll have to mind that hard right-hander as we come through in, and then you're going to have the hairpin here near the end of this infield section that kicks you back out on the back stretch.
And this is going to be turn 8 that we're running into now. And only 2 more corners remaining, and those are both going to be on the oval section of the track Originally, this track featured a rectangular shaped oval similar to Indy, but due to safety concerns was changed out to a regular oval circuit, and then the infield being added later on.
Yeah, I don't know. I have mixed opinions on that, but I do, of course, like ovals. Again, you know, if you're familiar with PTR TV, you know that we have a lot of NASCAR on the channel. We have some other things coming up soon, but a lot of NASCAR on the channel, so different things kind of show differently. Weather, let's talk about it real quick. 81 degrees. We're in Homestead-Miami. Of course, it's 80 degrees. 80% humidity, 9-mile-an-hour wind, and it's 8 p.m. We're going to be racing into the dark here at Homestead-Miami. Sagar, any final predictions before we send this thing green?
No predictions whatsoever. I don't want to commentary curse anybody this time.
I think that's a very valid answer. Look at Brian Irby, Dave Hill back there in the second row. The Mustangs are looking feisty, but it is, of course, an Alpine Ferrari, a Corvette, two Mustangs that'll lead us off. That BMW safety car is going to peel off. Mitch Heller has control of the field, and Mitch Heller will decide when we go green, and it looks like Mitch Heller says we go green right now. We are underway here for racing for the final time here in Series 1 in the Winter League. It's hard on the brakes into turn 1. We go through. Again, it's that very Daytona-esque start, and oh no, Mitch Heller is already around early on, and he's going to roll all the way back through. We keep things going through. Brian Irby, Tommy Ryan, they're going to keep things around, but Mitch Heller off the track before the race can even begin.
Holy smokes. I'm glad I cannot be blamed for that commentary curse there. Mitch Heller getting yeeted into the oval section at turn 2 before the race even got started. I'm not sure who drifted out wide or who came across whom, but all of a sudden Mitch Heller is sliding across the grass, and that was one of the things we talked about crucially during the pre-race talk, was just avoiding getting into that grass and avoiding incidents was going to be huge, and now we're seeing the repercussions of those moves.
That we are, and now we see the battle of the Mustangs up front with Brian Irby, Dave Hill. They are going to continue their battle along up here in the front. So the Mustangs now have control of the field. Well, we have Tommy Ryan in third place there in the Corvette, who wants to stop it. And look at that, Ford versus Chevy. Who would have thought Ford versus Chevy on a NASCAR track? Not me, not ever. So we'll bring things around, down and through. And as we go through this first lap underway, well, lap 1 is done. We'll get that ticker to show you timer because we have 28 and a half minutes left to go here.
And this might be huge implications for Dave Hill's championship right now. With Mitch Heller so far down the grid into 17th place, Dave Hill could possibly clinch the championship with 172 points, moving his way up the order right now. He's only got Brian Irby to contend with, and Brian Irby sitting in 6th place with 159 points in the championship right now.
We'll get a quick replay here of what happened to Mitch Heller, and we're just going to honestly go all the way from the race start. I don't think there's a better way to do it than just from the race start. Let's get this replay here and get on the horn here with Mitch Heller. Mitch Heller into turn 1. Let's go to a blimp cam, actually. That might be a better perspective here from the blimp cam. Let's bring it back here. And here it is. So that's him to the inside. That's going to be to the outside, Tommy Ryan. And I don't know who drifted where, honestly. That's a hard one to call. But then Tommy Ryan slowing down really hard there. And look at Les Turner. Les Turner, the outside there, was ready to make a move.
Yeah, Les was really ready to pounce at that opportunity from the number 18 of Tommy Ryan slowing down, coming through turns 1 and turn 2. Really, I mean, that's almost as racing incidents could ever be called. It's a car comes down in a cross or holding its line. The Alpine Ferrari drifts out a little bit wide, giving the squeeze. I don't know which way to call it. This is why I'm not a race steward, Brad.
Absolutely, I agree there. And of course, the stewards will have their decision on it. And I don't really have an answer for you. I don't know which way I'd call that either, but they're going to call it one way or the other, and that'll be that. We jump back in live pictures here at the moment. This is Brian Irby and this is Dave Hill that are battling through, going through that middle sector of the track here. As they go, they compete, they fight, they're feisty, and well, here we go. This is the Mustang up the inside. Dave Hill, Brian Irby, they're going to swap positions. Is Tommy Ryan going to get involved in this? Well, he's certainly going to try. Onto the backstretch we go. Side by side the Mustangs are, and well, it is going to be Dave Hill who gets the run here on Brian Irby at the moment.
Yeah, what a great move coming out of turn 8 and in through turn 9 and in through turn 10. It looks like the Mustangs are still battling it out, but there is a Chevy Corvette getting dragged along this battle with them. The slipstream of 2 is better than the slipstream of 1, and there's the Ford Mustang going to the ideal racing line, the red Whistler number 11, trying to do its darndest to keep up with that blue one. The number 13 of Dave Hill out in front and closing down the gap in a huge margin there through turn 3, it looks like, and just keeps on closing that gap. All this battling has allowed Brent Cook to get involved, though, with this mixture of vehicles, and now the gap just 1 second between the top 4.
Indeed, we're going to ride on board with Brent Cook here for just a moment as he goes through and see what he's seeing, feel what he's feeling. I mean, if you're Brent Cook here, you're really trying to find a move in that McLaren, but those cars ahead are so feisty. It's hard to do anything, really, when you've got those cars ahead. And I mean, you're flat out, you're doing 130 miles an hour here in the infield. You can only do so much, though, and now you get on the backstretch. Again, you don't have that draft through turn 1 and 2 to really get onto the backstretch, so you're shifting, you're flat, you're doing what you can. These cars have plenty of grip here through 3 and 4. He's really not lifting. He's just holding on to it. 150, 160 coming up. I mean, doggone, there's a lot of speed in these cars.
Absolutely. And with these huge banking zones as well, we're seeing 18 to 20 degrees of progressive banking plays a huge role in the iRacing and AMS2 categories, where the higher lanes can generate more speed over a run, just like real NASCAR races.
Yeah, it's so much fun to watch. And look at this. Dave Hill, Brian Irby, Tommy Ryan, Brent Cook, Lex Turner, David Barry, Mark Wilson, Robert Beirut, Jim Graziano, Dennis Griffith. Your top 10 are all within a couple of seconds of each other. They're all in this long train here. If we go in this blimp cam, look, there's your top 4 right there. Let's jump back here. There's 7th place. And there's Dennis. So your top 10 are all within basically a stone's throw of each other. There's no relaxing at the moment for anyone.
Yeah, everybody's just within spitting distance or just one mistake away from each other. And I think that incident coming out of turn 2 definitely helped bunch up the pack and keep it a little bit tighter than it otherwise would have been. I expected Mitch Heller to run away with it like his life depended on it. He was 2/10 faster. Although he wouldn't have screamed away with it, he would have done his normal Mitch Heller thing if I put my money on it.
Indeed, and just to check in with Mitch Heller, well, we'll jump back here to the back of the field. This is 14th place currently for Mitch Heller, where he sits. He's trying to make a run here. Of course, he's down, but he's looking for a pass on Dwayne McCarthy, and, well, Mitch Heller has a lot of racecraft here, so up the inside he's going to go down into turn 1. Side by side, they're going to sit, and will Mitch Heller get the advantage? I think Dwayne's going to be a little nice to him, knows Mitch isn't having the best day, lets that one go through, and we continue along, and that was Jeff Ryan going very slow to the outside. Mitch Heller picks up 2 places in 3 corners.
2-for-1 special. Mitch Heller is on a rampage right now and trying to get a haul of points, or as many points as he can salvage from this event with 23 minutes remaining on the clock, Bradley. It could be anybody's ball game for the lead, but it's still looking close between Dave Hill and Mitch Heller.
Indeed. We're not even a third race distance yet. Looking at lap 6 here running at the moment. I want to really keep an eye here on Mitch Heller, because Mitch Heller is going to be driving with the absolute best he can. He's going to be channeling whoever your favorite Ferrari driver is. Name one, and that's who Mitch Heller wants to be right now. Or your favorite Alpine driver. I mean, I'm not one to judge. Who's your favorite driver for either team, and go. And Mitch Heller now with another pass, but look at the gap there. 5 seconds to this top 10 pack. And look here at this top 10 pack. I mean, they just continue to run and go and fight and make it along here across this track. It's going to be so hard for him to get all the way up, but once he gets to the back of this pack, it's not going to take a lot for him to start carving through car by car by car.
I think the opposite, to be honest with you, Bradley. I think once he catches up to a group of cars that are all packed up, it'll be more difficult for him to make up positions. He's kind of caught the stragglers of the bunch right now, and I think once he catches up to a fight, close-knit battle, he really will not find a way by any further than where he ends up being. Mitch Heller right now 10 seconds off the leader's run right now, but when he catches back up to Dennis Griffin, or if he catches up to Dennis Griffin, I think that's where his charge will really come to a screeching halt.
I don't think it's going to take him a lot to catch up to Dennis Griffin. I think it's more a matter of when, not if. for him to get caught up there and get going as we continue along yet again. Dave Hill still leading the pack. He's starting to stretch that lead. We're almost at a second as he comes here through turns 3 and 4. Brian Irby just trying to hold on. Tommy Ryan in that Corvette really wants to try to make a move. Does he try something into turn 1 here? Well, let's watch and see if he tries a late break, if he tries a good lunge. And no, again, that's part of the fun with Red Sox Racing League here. They're very respectful drivers. They're not going to do anything crazy, cause anything, but man, if there's an opportunity, they take it. Tommy Ryan gets the move done on the inside of Brian Irby, and now Brian Irby has to defend the outside to Brent Cook.
Man, one tiny mistake is all it took for Brian Irby to open the door. Tommy Ryan did not have to be invited twice to that conversation. Brent Cook looking like he was getting invited to a Thanksgiving meal and was just about to take the dinner plate home with him. And the number 11 falling a little bit further backwards, but still holding on to P3 for now. Brent Cook wanting to make that a P4.
Yeah, Brent Cook looking very, very feisty here. And I tell you what, I don't blame him. If I saw a move like that happen, I'd be trying to get the move done myself. I'd be right there ready to go as the cars all come through the hairpin around here. We're going to go to a blimp cam for a moment here. Let's watch and just kind of see how the drivers run. I'm really enjoying watching these battles go through. Les Turner isn't far behind. Robert Beirus, Mark Wilson, David Berry here all in the mix as well. And Thogger, we're racing into the night. This is something that I can't think of the last time we did this in Red Sox. The headlights are on. We're going to hop on board really quick, actually, here in the wonderful cockpit helmet cam from Beirut. This is what he's seeing. The lights are mattering right now because, of course, Homestead doesn't have any track lights around the outside.
That's funny that you say that because this was actually IndyCar's first night race. The first ever Indy night race was held here in 1997 under the lights, a groundbreaking moment for the series. But now that you're saying that, yeah, there aren't very many lights to be seen here at Homestead, are there?
There's not, which is going to make this interesting because if you look at our weather run here as it stands, we're currently going to be 8:19 p.m. in sim time, and if I double check, I believe that sunset is set for 8:30, so we should get a few minutes of actually good dark racing here, which is not something, again, we really get treated to very often here with Red Sox. I can't think of the last time, but I like it.
I really like this too. Look at how close Robert Beirus was closing down on Mark Wilson. Great to see Wilson come back into the championship. And was that someone diving down to the apron and into pit lane? Couldn't quite tell whom that was. And it might have been the car behind the 323. Robert Beirus. No, Robert Beirus down pit lane he goes.
Robert Beirus has split this race. Actually, not even in half. He's at 18 minutes to go. We're not even half lap distance on calculated laps. We were calculated for 24 laps. We've only ran 10 here. So Robert Beirus has decided to dip in very, very early. And what's his plan here? Well, it's going to be a long stop, I'd assume, but maybe he just wanted out of traffic. Maybe he thinks he has a little bit more pace to give if he's on his own. So we'll see. 8.8 second stop.
That's pretty average that we've seen from most of the drivers throughout this championship series so far. But I'm worried about him losing that slipstream effect from the cars out in front. But of course, Robert Beirus probably knows better than most drivers how to make that undercut work because he's made it work in the last 2 races that he's been a part of. And he's made up quite a few positions. I mean, that's why the man is in 3rd place right now in the championship standings with 170 points, right behind Dave Hill by 2 points.
And speaking of Dave Hill's under pressure by about half a second from Tommy Ryan. And yes, that camera cut is how much of a difference there is between Dave Hill and Robert Beirus right now. 35 seconds the gap from that P15 driver all the way up to our race leader, currently diving into turn 1, trying to hold on to it. These two are starting to pull a gap on Brian Irby. 1.6 seconds, the gap back here to the Whistler Mustang as he goes through. And then, of course, Brett Cook's still putting pressure down. Dave Berry looking for a move here up the inside. Can Dave Berry get the move done on Mark Wilson? Inside turns to outside. He's going to have to cede the position for the moment, but man, Mark Wilson knows he's under pressure.
Absolutely. And David Berry trying to make that one work as best as possible, but just couldn't find the daylight to squeeze him out there. He was really trying to work Mark Wilson into a mistake, but almost finding the gap there. Really just could not squeeze him out through the outside line. As you said, inside turning into outside very quickly as we came through the infield section.
Indeed, and look at this. He's going to try for the same lunge yet again. If it didn't work the first time, make it work the second time, and he looked for it, but now I worry he's opened himself up to Graziano here down the backstretch. Jim Graziano going to look for a move here on David Berry if he can. Half a second the gap as we follow him through, and they continue around here through 3 and 4. I really think David Berry feels much more confident in the infield. More cars into the pits. Brian Irby, Brent Cook, both into the pits here.
Wow, this is really a lap earlier than I would have expected. And look at them racing down pit lane right now, side by side, and they better split up before they get to their pit stalls. Otherwise, we're going to see a little bit of calamity on pit road's exit. And now they're both diving and dashing to pit road. Who's going to come out in front? Will it be the Amsoil or will it be the Whistler in red? The Whistler in red drops down, and so does the Amsoil car, and it's inverting their positions. The 367 pulls out in front of the number 11 right now.
And then they just barely get out in front of Brian Irby, or in front of Robert Beirut. So you got to keep that in mind too. That's a big change there as they go. One thing I did notice though with the way they stopped, Brent Cook, when he stopped, he was pointed towards the exit, and Brian Irby was pointed a little more in towards the pit wall, so he had to come right a little bit to get out of the box there. But now they've got the pressure of Robert Beirut behind. Robert Beirut has been in the rhythm, but unfortunately for Robert Beirut, I think pitting at 18 minutes to go has earned him absolutely no time.
No, not really. It could have been very close had they stayed out for another lap, but there's a lot of drivers that still have to make their pit stop that are suffering maybe that little bit more right now, and he may be able to catch up. Although he did come back out into lap traffic, this slipstream effect will help him gain a little bit of time and momentum with the number 11 right in front of him, Brian Irby, dragging him along right now.
Indeed, we're going to jump back here with Mark Wilson and Les Turner, because Les Turner's under pressure from Mark Wilson to the inside here, and Les backs out of that, gives the position up to Mark Wilson. Look for a switchback, not able to make it at the moment. And now you're going to have David Berry, who's going to be looking for a move as well. If he can make one stick, it's going to be McLaren versus McLaren here for these two. You got to wonder, do they care that they're both in McLarens? Are they going to work together any, or are they just about to start sending it along?
I think it's two McLarens versus the American Mustang right now, but it's looking like the 323 of Mark Wilson is escaping with his life right now as he's up into third place overall in the standings. But of course, pit stops still remaining for Dave Hill, Tommy Ryan, Mark Wilson, Les Turner, David Berry. And the rest of the field, pretty much, we've only seen a handful of drivers come down pit road, and now we have breached the halfway point of the race. I expect now we'll see a few more pit stops coming into effect, and then the last of the late pitters will come in right before the very end of the race.
Everybody from 10th place up still to pit, as you just mentioned, Sagar. This is going to be what's interesting for me to watch as we continue to run through. I do also want to jump back up here. Dave Hill, Tommy Ryan still separated by just about a quarter of a second. They continue through. Mustang versus Corvette. They're trying. Doggone if they're not trying. I don't know what's going to be the best option here for one to get past the other as they continue on down through this infield section.
Impressive to see Tommy Ryan catch back up to Dave Hill now. That gap at one point in time was almost about a second and a half back to Tommy Ryan. It was at least 1 second back to P2, and Tommy Ryan was sitting pretty in third place. But now he's right on the rear bumper of Dave Hill and trying to work it like a Corvette would behind his compatriot, his fellow countryman, I should say, Dave Hill. And they're dragging each other along, and I'm not sure they want to keep on battling too much because they might get undercut by the other cars that have already taken down pit road. But time will tell. We're just commentators. It's best guess situation right now.
That is indeed what we do. Sometimes it's best guess, sometimes it's worst guess, and sometimes we speak something into existence. But hey, welcome to Red Sox Racing League. Welcome to PTR TV. That's what you signed up for. It's what you enjoy. So we bring it around here and continue our way through. The Mustang does not have as much rotation. Dave Hill does not seem to have as much get around in the rear end of that Mustang as Tommy Ryan does, but in the inverse, that Mustang has so much power through the actual oval section, down the backstretch, through NASCAR 3 and 4, that it really does make a difference for him. I think that's why he's kind of in the position he's in right now.
100%. You're very, very true. speaking right now, because that infield section, you could see how much that Corvette is closing down the gap on the Mustang, but during this outer loop section or the oval section, the number 13 just escapes with his life, and windshield wiper is on for Tommy Ryan, perhaps just getting a little bit of the debris off. I thought rain was coming down, and it scared me there for a moment. Is there going to be any weather? No. Track moisture is 0% right now, and here it goes. A look to the outside line coming in towards turn 1, and down through turn 2 we go. Tommy Ryan is just an absolute beast on the brakes right now, closing down that gap and almost kissing the rear bumper of that Mustang, and he knows where his strength is reigning now.
That he does. He is trying so hard to get things through. He's doing a great job of it, I will say, of getting that car in all the right places. It's just a matter of, it's one thing to catch, it's another to pass. We say that time and time and time again, but these two are in a league of their own right now as they run through. They're 2 seconds faster last lap than Mark Wilson. I mean, Mark Wilson's last lap was a 1:17.4, and they ran 1:15.6s. So that's a considerable pace difference as they bring things through. Mark Wilson, Les Turner, David Barry all running in the 1:17s together, and then Mitch Heller putting in 1:16s. Mitch Heller just slowly working that way forward. He's in P6 at the moment, but of course everyone P9 up still needs to pit, so we'll see what comes out of that. Jim Graziano went into the pits. He got a black flag for something in pit lane, had to clear it. He's now down a lap, down in 15th place.
Oh, super unfortunate for Graziano to be an additional lap down. And here comes Les Turner out of pit lane, it looks like. And here comes the number 18. That'll be Tommy Ryan coming down pit lane. And that's Les Turner in the background, if I'm not mistaken, also coming down pit lane. So the pit stop cycle is finally underway. Tommy Ryan trying to get a little bit of undercut done on Dave Hill, it looks like.
Lots of drivers opting to pit in now with 9 minutes to go. Dwayne McCarthy is in. Bill Paul Lucky is in. Tommy Ryan here stationary in the box. Let's follow him first here and see how long he's in. This is a long pit stop for the Corvette. 14.2 seconds in the box. That's a very, very long time for Tommy Ryan. Les Turner only in the box for 8 seconds, with Dennis Griffith in for 9 seconds. Bill Paul Lucky just now stopping. Let's see how long he is in that box. 14.2 seconds, though, for Tommy Ryan. That is a long pit stop when you compare it to everyone else's stop time.
I wonder if Tommy Ryan didn't have his fast repair clicked on, and he had to get normal repairs done on that car from that turn 1, turn 2 incident. What do you think?
That's the only thing I can kind of think of, is that something like that happened. I'm not sure, because it didn't look like he missed his box, but if you're Dave Hill right now, if you realize that that's nearly a 6-second slower pit stop for him, you're gonna be feeling pretty good. Dave Hill is in. Mark Wilson is in. Let's see what these two Mustangs do. Dave Hill, let's follow his pit stop here and see what his option is. Mark Wilson's in. Mitch Heller is in. David Barry will inherit the lead as the only car left to pit. So David Barry, once he pits in, will really know where the field's at here. Oh, Nathan Lafayette also needs to pit. David Barry only stopped for 8.5 seconds. That's a very, very good look for him. Or sorry, Dave Hill only stopped for 8.5 seconds. Here comes Mitch Heller. Mitch Heller's now into the box. He stops. Let's see how long he is in the box here. Stogger, this final round, under 8 minutes to go. Things are getting spicy.
This is going to be closer than I could have ever imagined. Mitch Heller only stopped for 9.6 seconds, getting that damage repaired, sliding up the rear end of that car, and back out towards turn 2 he goes. And that'll be it. The number 18, though, just what an atrocious pit stop. I've got to call it like I see it. 14 seconds. That's painful.
Listen, this is PTR TV. We always call it like we see it. It's not everyone's favorite thing about us, but it's the right way to do things around here. That is a painful pit stop that I feel for Tommy Ryan. You got to wonder what could have been if he hadn't have done that, because right now Dave Hill is currently 3.5 seconds in the clear from this car right here, Brent Cook, who's going to be fighting off this guy, and this guy all the way to the end here. So you know, there's a big gap there to make up. David Barry's into the pits. Nathan Lafayette is into the pits here. So now all of these cars are in the pits. Let's just hand the lead off to Dave Hill here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be Dave Hill's race to go home with tonight. He's got to be pretty happy about this one, and he could clinch the championship. Of course, the unofficial results will be announced after this. But man, oh man, I am just biting my nails, teeth, toenails, whatever I can grab onto right now to try to do the commentator's math, because this is going to be very close for the championship standings.
That it will. And if you want to know the official results, well, I do have an announcement. I was given a certain social media account that is one letter by one Mr. Corey Silva, because we were able to figure out the login for it. So if you are interested, we do of course have a something called X that was formerly known as Twitter. So if you want to follow us over there, I'll be sure to announce on there the results once we know them, of course, along with our Facebook page, once we can get the official final results in from the boss man himself. Once he's off the track and calculate those up, we'll post those on all of our socials. And then of course, if you are a member of Red Sox, well, you'll get those before anyone else.
Really great work out of Les Turner and the Red Sox Racing League crew to put together such a wonderful championship series. These 30-minute endurance-like events have just been flying by in a blink of an eye. I can't believe it's been 6 weeks already. It feels like we've run a 12-week championship in 6 weeks' time because of how close things have gotten and how endurance-y these events have felt. They're definitely not 30-minute sprint races. These feel like genuine endurance events, getting to the line quicker than ever, though, and just brings a new level of excitement to the racing that we've never seen before. And this has been a pleasure for me at the very least.
Absolutely. And for those of you saying, okay, well, this is Series 1, what comes after this? Well, what comes after this is going to be Series 2. Well, I hear you asking me the next question. When is Series 2? Well, I am excited to be the one to announce that starts on the 20th of March. We're going to take the next 3 weeks off here. Of course, a couple of weeks off for fun, and then week 13 will be off, and we'll then Series 2 straight into Series 3. So you get 12 weeks of back-to-back Red Sox action. And I can tell you the first two tracks, because, well, the first two tracks are probably two of the best tracks that I can think of to kick off Series 2. The first one is Sebring. Everyone loves Sebring. I don't think I need to say it, but everyone loves Sebring. The second track, we go to Monza. So those will be the two tracks to kick off the season. If you want to know the full schedule, be sure to go to PrimetimeRacingTV.com and check out the schedule, where I will be updating that here shortly after the race.
And that is a surprise for myself as well. I knew we were coming back on March 20th, but I had two different tracks listed on my bingo card, and they were definitely not Sebring and definitely not Monza. So I am pleased to be finding out about Sebring, one of the bumpiest tracks in the world, formerly a B-52 bomber base. And now it is going to be the home of racing for the Red Sox Racing League for Series 2.
Absolutely. We'll kick it off there. So it'll go Sebring, Monza, Red Bull Ring, Long Beach, Suzuka, Watkins Glen. That will be our Series 2 schedule. I'm very, very excited to see that one play out and see where that comes through. Just like I'm very excited to watch right now Dave Hill, who has the run here on Brent Cook by 3.3 seconds back here to this McLaren. And then Brian Irby about a second back in the Mustang. Robert Beirus there. Tommy Ryan looking for it. We're under 3 minutes to go, Sauger, here to end off this Winter Series 1.
So if my math is mathing properly, we're going to get this lap plus 2 more when the drivers cross the line. And it looks like all things said and done for this championship series, but it looks like Les Turner is under threat from Dennis Griffin, closing down the gap in that Acura NSX very swiftly behind that McLaren.
That he is. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what Les can do to hold off Dennis here as they go. This is going to be a very, very interesting little battle to watch for them. We look at those last lap times, 1:16.1 to 1:16.3 in favor of Dennis here. So there is the chance to see this pass happen here before the end. 2 minutes left to go now to round off this Series 1 as we go through. These two are your closest battle on track, but also Brian Irby, Robert Beirus. We jump in up here. Robert Beirus still looking to get a pass done, and look at that pace difference, 1:16.2 to 1:15.8 on the last lap as they head down the backstretch.
That's huge. I knew Beirus was trying to pull something out of a rabbit's hat and he sure was trying to make that undercut work for as long as possible. It looks like he's done pretty well for himself, jumped up into 4th place overall as far as the standings are concerned with one more lap to go in this event. He's done a pretty clean job of making this one successful, but what could have been, what could have was if Brent Cook and Brian Irby didn't undercut just along with him, just one lap later.
Absolutely, and we will have this lap plus one more. I didn't see Barney have the white flag there. I'm going to double check this camera one more time, and no, Barney doesn't have the white flag. So we're this lap and one more, Sauger. Did drivers get enough fuel for this? Did they plan for this?
Don't forget about that extra formation lap that the drivers had to contend with. I know it was announced for the drivers briefing, but did they actually put enough fuel in to get to the very end? I know that Les said during that same drivers briefing that drivers will not have to make it around a full entire lap before they can go return to garage. But will they have enough to get to the checkered flag? Time will only tell. Right now it's Dave Hill leading Brent Cook, and then Brian Irby in 3rd place, the Whistling Mustang. And then in 4th place, it'll be Robert Beyrus, and then Tommy Ryan, Mark Wilson, David Berry, Les Turner, Dennis Griffin, and Mitch Heller rounding out the top 10.
Dave Hill comes across the line, takes the white flag from Barney, the flag man here. One more lap to go. This is your final lap here for this Series 1 as we bring it through. And I tell you what, we watched this battle go through, but I also want to make sure we watch this battle right here. Les Turner, Dennis Griffin, 0.3 of a second goes through, goes around. I think Dave Hill, about 3 seconds up, he just needs to bring it home one final comfortable lap. Not everyone gets the same opportunity, though. Brent Cook, Brian Irby, Robert Beyrus, they're battling. Tommy Ryan, Mark Wilson, they battle. And then, of course, as we touched on there, Les Turner, Dennis Griffin, they're going to battle it out here for the final lap. The championship is in the balance. The race is in the balance. And this final lap can mean so much to so many drivers.
Absolutely. This is going to be a stonking end to the championship season. And this is going to be Dave Hill leading Brent Cook and Brian Irby, all getting to the line next up. And this is going to be it. The checkered flag will be waving high by Barney, the flag man. And the number 13 will take it, coming around turn 9 and then turn 10. And this will be it for the final time here for PTR TV.
Dave Hill currently 2nd place in the point standings. Will this give him the championship? He was down by 9 points, but sometimes a race win is all you need, and he will bring it across the line here and win this season finale here of the GT3 Series 1 here in Red Sox Racing League. And that, I tell you what, is a good way to do it. 2nd place, Brian Irby. 3rd place, Robert Beyrus. 4th was Brent Cook. 5th place, coming across for Tommy Ryan, Mark Wilson. And 6th, David Berry, Les Turner, Dennis Griffin, not able to get past Les in the end. And Mitch Heller in 10th place. Is that enough for him to hold that championship lead? I don't know. I do not know.
Truly, this is one of those nail-biting moments because it is so close. Like you said, it's just 9 points separating P1 and P2 right now. Dave Hill from Mitch Heller. Is there a 9-point gap between P1 and P10? I would believe so, but again, these are unofficial results right now until the boss man tells us otherwise.
Absolutely, and I'm going to wait to see if I can get an announcement from the boss man here shortly as we watch Dave Hill take his victory lap around Homestead-Miami here through Road Course B. Was a very, very good run for him here. Let's watch him run down this backstretch. He's going to bring it through. Do we get donuts in the Mustang? Do we get to see the Mustang do a burnout? I would like to think we will. However, it doesn't look like it there as he's going to dive in to the pit lane.
Oh, man, I wanted to see some more donuts. We got to put out an announcement, Bradley. If you win a race, you got to put on donut shows for us, folks. It's got to be a staple. I don't care if you run out of fuel or not. You got to do donuts on the grid. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. This has been an absolute wonderful event. And most importantly, thank you very much to all the drivers for participating at the Red Sox Racing League. You guys have put on a phenomenal show. And whether you finish P1 or P last, you got to be happy with the way this season went. This was full of excitement and action-packed up and down the grid, left, right, and center. I've had a great time watching you guys, so I'm sure behind the wheel it feels even better.
I can only second that sentiment. I love GT3 racing. I love these cars. I love these track combos. And it's so much fun to do and so much fun to watch this series continue to thrive week after week. These drivers all respect each other. They all know what they're doing. And well, in the end, it just produces great racing. It's fun to see that clean, competitive racing through and just watch how things go. Race results here for the unofficial results of this season finale. And it is, of course, Dave Hill who takes the win, 4.6 seconds over Brian Irby, Robert Beirus in third, Britt Cook in fourth, Tommy Ryan in fifth, Mark Wilson in sixth, David Barry, Les Turner, Dennis Griffin, Mitch Heller. He was your points leader coming in. We don't know if he's your points leader going out. We're going to wait for an official confirmation on that. Dwayne McCarthy, Nathan Lafayette, Bill Paulucki, Jeff Ryan, Jim Graziano, all 15 drivers on the lead lap. Mark Agee down 5 laps, and Mark Kadrowski down 20 laps of 24. He had a lap 4 incident that took him out there that we missed on the screen. Still kind of looking to see if any drivers are going to join us to talk, and it does look like Dave Hill is going to join. Maybe Dave can give us a little bit of an indication of where things are. Let's grab him in the booth here, Sauger. Dave, good evening.
Hey, guys.
I have a question. Do you know where the point standings currently sit? Because I do not.
No, I have no idea. I knew the only way it was going to be close is if something unfortunate happened to Mitch or if he didn't show up at all. So I can't remember. I want to say I was 10 or 11 back maybe, but I don't remember the breakdown. So I'm curious.
I'm curious myself.
You need both.
Yeah, I need to know. I really do, not just for the fact that I need to know, but I need to know, honestly, where you were at. And because, yeah, what if you're tied? What's the rule for figuring things out if you're tied?
I don't know. I guess maybe some kind of showdown.
That actually could be fun. We could enjoy that, actually. That'd be a good one. So, Dave, just talk us through your race in general, though.
Championship points. I've got it. Sorry.
Drum roll.
It's 45 points for first place in class, 44 points for second place in class, 43 for third place in class. Reduces by 1 point until 1 point for 45th place in class. This might be a tie.
So, yeah, because if they were separated by 9 places and they were 9 points apart, that's a tie going in. So,
Well,
and you both have one win.
Hoping to pick up a bonus point for leading a lap and for a clean race as well. I don't think I picked up any incidents, believe it or not, on that run.
I'd believe it,
So
actually.
that might put me over. I don't know. It's been a heck of a season. Mitch was up there the whole time. I'm not even sure what happened. It was a bit of a blur at the start there, but I'll take it. Both those guys. I didn't know what happened to Tommy. I was sweating so much trying to do like a perfect pit stop and hopefully get back out in front of him because it's very hard to pass on this track. And I knew if I could stay ahead of him that I may have a chance at winning, but I guess I think he came on the radio after and said that he screwed up his pit stop. So I kept checking the relative and he was nowhere to be seen. And I was like, oh, I wonder what happened. But after that, I was just trying to not make any mistakes. And yeah, that actually turned out to be a lot of fun.
It was fun to watch in the booth. I won't speak for Sauger, but I'll speak for myself. That was a lot of fun to watch. That was nail biting. I can tell you what happened. Turn 1, lap 1 is all I'll say for what happened with Mitch. I'll let you go back and watch that later. And then as far as Tommy goes, it was indeed the pit stop. It was a very slow pit stop, very heartbreaking pit stop for him. And then you just drove. I mean, you drove a stellar race. I can't say anything less, Dave. I don't know how it felt behind the wheel. Obviously, you said you were trying, but it was a stellar race from you.
Yeah, the car was definitely the tires start to wear out fast in this if you start over driving it, and I mean both those guys had amazing pace. So I was just hoping to keep up with them, and then when the incidents happened, I was just sweating trying to stay ahead and. yeah, just run as clean as possible. So I may not have had the fastest lap, but I felt I ran a fairly clean race, and that was pretty satisfying on this track, to be honest.
It was a lot of fun to watch, man. I got to ask, going into Series 2, we get a few weeks off. What's going to be the plans coming into Series 2? Because I believe unofficially, if the math is right, and I'm going to trust Sagar's math because he's better at math than me, unofficially, it sounds like you've got this Series 1 championship under wraps.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay in the Mustang and keep at it here. It's a lot of fun to drive it. I mean, frustrating, but also fun. And it sounds like we got some good tracks on the horizon. So yeah, I'll keep at it. And I don't know. It just in general, it's a lot of fun, and these guys are great drivers. And I've been in this league for quite a few years now, and some of the drivers when I joined that were slower have really picked up the pace. Dennis Griffin and Brian Irby, and then those guys and Les, and it's just it's making a lot more closer races. I think, like you've said before in some of the broadcasts, there's always a fight going on from start to finish somewhere in the pack. And if, other than actual, race incidents and stuff, this league's one of the cleanest that I race in, and everyone respects everyone. Everyone is really used to each other's driving styles, and I think that makes for good drivability around the track.
Absolutely, David. So much fun to watch. It's fun to see you run that Mustang around, and we'll give you a few weeks off. We'll let you go celebrate, and we'll catch up with you there in Series 2.
All right, I just want to give a quick shout out to the wife Shay and the little guy Nolan. Both of those guys are down in Florida this week, and I'm stuck up here north of Toronto under 5 feet of snow. So just a little shout out to them. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for putting on a good show. Thank Les and everyone else that drives in this league. It's a lot of fun, and look forward to it on Thursday nights.
Awesome. Thank you, Dave. Take it easy. We'll catch up with you in Series 2.
All right, thanks. See you guys.
And Sagar, I think we're going to trade one Mustang for another, and I believe you've got Brian Irby to catch up with.
Hey, Brian Irby, how are you feeling tonight, sir? And he's left the room.
Let's see if we can't get him back in here. Brian. Oh,
and he left again.
Well, I can't do my best Brian Irby impression, but we'll say that his Mustang is gorgeous for Whistler radar detectors, and it was a fun race for him. I don't know what else to say there.
He performed pretty well. Started off in third, finished in second. Of course, that was due to Mitch Heller falling down the order just a few places. But man, oh man, was that an exciting race to watch Brian Irby. He had to contend with quite a few drivers out on track and put on his great defense minister hat, trying to keep back a couple of others. But a great drive out of Irby.
It was a very, very good drive from him. We'll see if we can get a hold of him. Looks like he is free now, Sagar. Let's try this one more good time. Brian, can you hear me in Sagar now?
Yes, sir. Had to get a couple settings right, man. Sorry about that.
All good, Brian Irby. Heck of a race that you had. Started off in third, ended up finishing second. Talk us through your pretty clean race that you had.
Man, I tell you what, that was a fun race. That was a great track. A lot of great drivers, a lot of give and take. Hate to see Mitch and Tommy get together there at the very, very beginning, but allowed me to lead some laps, man. And yeah, I'm very grateful for that. That was a great race.
Yeah, and you had to defend pretty hard there for a couple of instances. What was going through your head when you had to defend like that?
Man, I tell you what, I know the caliber of drivers that Dave is and caliber driver Tommy is. I've seen him closing. I appreciate him not dive bombing me a couple times whenever he could have, but man, I tell you what, I was just trying to take the line, keep my line. After they got by me, I was just trying to keep up with them. I noticed, man, I'm losing pace. So let me go ahead and pit and go and get my rhythm back because I lost rhythm once they got by me.
Well, you sure managed to keep your hold of your rhythm and your rhyme. You got jiggy with it, baby. It was bobsled time for you, finishing up in second position. That's got to feel pretty good for your finale here at Red Sox Racing League Series 1, right?
Man, I tell you what, like I said last time, man, it's anytime you can finish in top 3 here, man, it's like a win. These guys right here are some of the best in the world. Um, they race clean, they race hard, but everybody here wants to win. Everybody puts the time in, and to get a second place here, man, I wish I could have caught Dave, but I'll take a second all day long.
And he said two very crucial things here about the character of the drivers here at Red Sox Racing League. Could have dove in you, but knew better than to do so. That was number one. And part number two was everybody's out here trying to win, but you guys are still managing to keep it clean and keep it friendly between yourselves. How does someone stay super competitive like this series has been, but still manage to keep it clean on the racetrack? Is it skill? Is it practice? Is it just knowing that you got to answer to Les Turner at the end of the day? What is it?
Well, Les is one mean one, man. But I tell you what, man, it's more about the character of the drivers here, man. These guys right here, man, they know they're fast. They know they can win. All of us want to win, but I think everybody here has respect, and that's the key word, man, is respect.
Yeah, and that respect goes a long way, and we see it week after week. I know you guys feel it behind the wheel of your cars when you're driving next to each other, and you reciprocate that towards each other. But up here, when we're watching from the blimp cam or we're watching from trackside cameras, we can recognize it so easily that nobody's willing to give an inch, give a mile. They don't want to, but they also don't want to fight each other tooth and nail and cause any accidents to happen. Accidents happen here at Red Sox Racing League, but so far and few between have we seen anything since CTMP, the opening round, where that was truly a just genuine accident. Other than that, every race has been super clean. A whole lot of zero X races that we've been a part of so far, and it's been my pleasure. Anything else you want to sign us off, Brian, or before we let you go, or anybody you want to shout out?
Man, I just think Red Sox, I want to thank the whole league. I want to thank everybody around in this league, man. They're all great. Thank you for showing up every week. Thank you, Les, putting us on. Man, I can't wait for next season to start, man. It's a lot of fun here. Love these guys, and hope to see them on March 2020.
Yes, sir. And we'll see you in a week's time. Thank you very much for joining us, Brian. Really appreciate your time and candid conversation. Have a wonderful day and enjoy your off-season.
Have a good night, guys.
Good night.
Man, Sagar, all I can say is this is so much fun, man. I wish I had kind of more to say to that other than just this is fun, but I think fun is the best way to sum it up when all things are said and done here in Red Sox.
Absolutely. This has got to be the best job I ever had. Getting to shoot the breeze with a couple of fellow racing enthusiasts week after week. Being able to see the performance week after week has just been so phenomenal. I'm thrilled to be part of racing here at Red Sox Racing League and PTR TV putting on a fantastic level of production.
Absolutely. And again, that next series starts on the 20th of March, and we started off there in a few weeks. We'll get everything up and going and announced here soon and get things going. But again, as always, if this is your first time here, make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bells, do all those things you can do to support us for free. On behalf of Sagar, on behalf of myself, thank you all for being here and enjoying this series. We're going to go take a few weeks off. Well, we're going to take a few weeks off from Red Sox. Still plenty of broadcasts coming up here for PTR TV. We've got Sim 500. We've got Area iRacing. There's another one little secret project that is up there that hasn't been announced yet. But yeah, plenty of things coming up. And thank you all for being here. On behalf of Sagar, my name is Brad. We've taken you start to finish. Be sure to join us next time where we take you start to finish yet again. Good night.